Welcome to A Girl's Guide to, the podcast designed to help generations of women enhance their minds, love their bodies, and heal their souls. I'm your host, Michaela, a girl navigating life and helping you do the same. I am so happy and grateful that you are here. Let's dive in. Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of A Girl's Guide to, and happy frickin' Monday. As always, I hope that you had a fun and safe weekend. Today, I am so excited for my girl Kelsey to be joining us with her freshly pink hair. Look at how stunning it is. Oh my goodness, we love it. And the pink nails, the pink shirt. You're in your pink era right now, aren't you?
Yeah, my pink cup,
I love it. I love it. Well, Kelsey and I have actually only known each other for a bit over a year now. We went to cosmetology school together last year, graduated. We took our test on the same day together. We passed together. I was recently in her wedding as a bridesmaid, which was so freaking special. And we just have kind of a unique friendship, I feel, because we haven't known each other that long, but we connected so quickly. And we have both experienced some unique situations with friendships throughout the years, and now especially in our 20s. So we just wanted to have a chat about navigating friendships in life at any stage and share with you our experiences and what we're kind of doing moving into this new year to protect our energy and to manifest better friendships. But Kelsey, before we hop in, why don't you go ahead and tell the girls who you are, what you do, a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I am Kelsey. I am a hairstylist. I am based out of Connecticut. I'm 29, so I'm still in my 20s. I'm really just sitting in that stewing in my 20s right now before I hit the big 30. So but I am married. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really do much other than now I'm married. I'm
Yeah.
a boring married lady now. I go to work, I do hair, I come home, I cook. Like that's basically my life now.
No, I love that. I love that. And we love Kyle, her now husband, and you are a dog mom as well to little
I am,
Tuna.
yes. To my little Shih Tzu Dachshund mixed tuna. Yeah, she's insane.
Well, anyway, Kels, I'm so happy to have you on. As you know, we recently, Kelsey and I met up for lunch and we were there for 3 hours. Okay. Three
Yeah.
hours just catching up. We could have spent probably a whole nother 3 hours sitting there talking.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it's definitely time to get you on the show. But I wanted you to share, whatever you're comfortable sharing, kind of your recent experience with friendships. I know that you've had some changes around your friend group. And yeah, I guess just explain what it is that you've been going through to the extent that you want to explain and kind of how you've been navigating it.
Yeah. So, I definitely like a small circle of people. I don't like a big group of friends because I think it just invites more room for like toxicity. And like, I'm just not about that. So I have very few friends from like early on. Like, I have one really good girlfriend who I've
Mhm.
known since the beginning of high school, and then I have another girlfriend who I've known since like 5th grade or something like that, but that's about it. Like that's
Yeah.
like my two longest friendships right there. And then so when I met my now husband Kyle, he has a big extensive friend group. Like a lot of friends, like they all know each other from like really back in the day, and I kind of came
Mhm.
in new and like didn't really know what to expect in all of this. Um, but I rolled with it and I made friends and I was friendly enough.
Yeah.
um, and yeah, I feel like having such a big friend group of people that know each other for so long, I feel like it can it can make like I don't know how to word this. Like, I feel like they're all friends because of like nostalgia. Like, it's
Mm.
comfortable for them, Like, I don't really feel like they've grown or like know each other as adults.
Mm.
So I think it's all friendships based on like nostalgia, comfort, familiarity, that sort of thing. But I did get really close with one of the girls in the friends group, and it didn't end up working out because she just ended up being a very toxic person.
Mm.
Didn't have really respect for anything I did or boundaries in that case, and I found out that she actually did this to two other girls who were used to be part of the friends group.
Mm.
So it was kind of like a pattern for her. Um, and I tried to let it go as long as I could because I didn't want to ruin anything for my husband because these were his friends first.
Right.
But after a while, like I just was kind of like, you know what, I got to protect myself, who I am, my boundaries, only keep the people in my life who I want in my life.
Mhm.
And that kind of ended up breaking up the whole friends group. Like,
Kelsey came in and said, "I'm fucking shit up right now."
I didn't even need to. I think it's just like I'm a very blunt person. Like, so, you know, like Kyle and I were having this conversation last night because a friend of ours is starting a new D&D campaign. I play D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, for those who don't know what that is. It's like a role-playing game. It's very nerdy. So, one of our friends is introducing a new campaign, and there's this person who wants to join the group.
Mhm.
And I told the leader of the group or whatever that I'm not playing if this person's playing because the energy isn't there.
Right.
And he's like, "Oh, no, 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 like they're not going to be allowed. They're not going to be allowed." But they still keep posting in the group as if they're going to join. And I looked at Kyle and I was like, "Would it be rude of me to be like, you're not invited?" And he's like, "Maybe don't say that."
Yeah.
So
Maybe
like
not in that way.
yeah, so but like I'm just very blunt in how I deliver things and it can come across as rude. But so with the friends group, I've just been like very honest in my feelings,
Right.
and a lot of people don't like that because they
They probably feel
just like
threatened by you. They feel threatened by you because honestly, that's uncommon. It's uncommon for people to speak their mind, which is
yeah,
sad. It's sad that
yeah,
that's the case, but it's true. And even in close friendships, like I had to the other night, I said something. I was out with a friend and I said something and he responded and I thought that he was offended by what I said by his response, but I guess he was just being sarcastic because
yeah,
it sat with me for a bit. And then later on, I said, you know what? I could sit here with this uncomfortable feeling of like, oh shit, did I upset him? Did I do something wrong? Or I could just go up to him and apologize. And I ended up doing that. And I just said, hey, like, I shouldn't have said what I said. It came off wrong. And I'm sorry if I offended you. Come to find out, he wasn't even offended. He was being sarcastic, but it was just the simple fact that, like, I made the effort to explain how I was feeling, which can go so far in friendships and in relationships in general, but especially friendships. I think sometimes we're afraid of, like, hurting our friends' feelings or breaking up friend groups, but if it's how
yeah.
you feel and if it's, your truth, then there's room for you to share that. You should share that, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I mean, I think that there's ways that it can be delivered in a friendly, kind
Yeah.
way, but also in situations with this girl that you're speaking of, obviously, I know a lot more details than the average listener. There
Yeah.
was a lot of grace with it. There was a lot of patience on your end.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, "Okay, I've had enough." You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
valid for how you, navigated the situation, but how is it, like, has it affected you and Kyle's relationship? Because I think that maybe for people listening who have significant others or they're in relationships and their significant other has friends that they don't necessarily like, how has that affected your relationship, or has it affected it at all?
So it's funny because it's affected it, but not in a negative way. It's actually helped him grow into like a person who's now being very careful with who he's letting in his life.
Oh,
Because
cool.
he was like before me, he was very complacent with his friends group. They did the same things all the time, same routine. But then I came in kind of like threw some salt into, or whatever, like was like, bam.
I'm
And
here now.
yeah, and, we actually had a conversation the other night about it, and he was like, "You know what? Like, I'm just gonna kinda let the friendships that aren't serving me anymore kind of just die out and just ride those,
Mm,
and just let it be that." And, like, we've talked a lot about friendships and, like, the friends that we have and that we actually really value,
Mhm.
um, and just comparing it to the ones that, we either don't really value that are kind of still in our lives, or the ones that we've totally just, gotten rid of.
Right. That's great that it's been able to open up some awareness for him as far as, oh, maybe I've been being friends with people who don't belong in my life or who just don't align with me. And I think
Yeah.
it's important to give yourself grace, whoever is listening, during friendship breakups because it can feel really sad and you can feel a lot of guilt for it. I know, kind of like you were saying earlier with the nostalgia aspect, it goes hand in hand for me with a friend of mine who actually recently reconnected with, which is great. But we had kind of distanced ourselves. It just kind of naturally happened. We just weren't aligned
Yeah.
anymore and we kind of were falling apart. But that nostalgic part of me really wanted to hold on to it. And I was so sad and I felt guilty. And, I felt, is there ways that I could be handling this better? Should I be reaching out to make plans? But I also, in the same sentence, knew that it wasn't a friendship that aligned with me in that moment. And I just had to be okay with that. I had to be okay with that transition period. And that was like when I had a best friend. I had a best friend in high school. We were actually best friends from like 7th grade all the way up until like, I don't know, 9th grade, 10th grade maybe. And then we fell off and then we reconnected. But it was just always like you said, it was just this feeling of I want to keep this person in my life because they're familiar, they're comfortable, they're my best friend. We've gone through so much together. It's just like a relationship when like
Yeah.
that you should break up with that person, but you start
Yeah.
tricking yourself because you go back to all the good memories, right? It's like, no, if you're having that back and forth in your head of whether or not this friend is a good friend, then they're not a good friend. If you have to
Yeah.
question, and also I saw something really interesting. It said there's no such thing as a bad friend. It's like an oxymoron because a friend
Yeah.
is a good person. A friend is someone who's got your back, who loves you, supports you. So there's no such thing as a bad friend because a friend is not a bad person. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's interesting. That's such a like I never thought of that. I never thought of that. But
Yeah.
how have you been navigating like the bad friendships like as far as have they just kind of fell off or have you kind of said like this is it? Because I've had both happen. Like with that best friend that I was talking about, I had to say, okay, I'm done being friends with you. And that was super uncomfortable. And then I've had the other ones where it's like we just kind of fall off.
Mhm.
Is it kind of been like both ways for you as well?
I feel like it's both ways because I feel like sometimes, like, it's necessary to say that, and sometimes it's just not, like,
True.
sometimes, like, you have to, like, cause drama, if you will,
The
and just
boundaries. Let's say set the
yeah,
boundaries.
exactly. Sometimes you have to just be like, "You know what? This isn't working. I'm not friends with you anymore. That's it. Peace, goodbye. I'm going
Right.
down my path, you go down yours." And then
Right.
sometimes it's not really necessary because it's not like the person did anything particularly wrong. It's just your energy, your growth, your just who you are. It's not clicking anymore. And
Mhm.
so sometimes it's just like, I don't necessarily have to say anything. This one's just gonna kind of fizzle out and that's okay. And if it, comes back one day, cool. But, for now, we're
It's not
just
meant to
not on
be.
the same wavelength.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And I actually, like I briefly mentioned, had that happen with a friend recently. We came back around. We kind of were growing at different rates. Our interests were just different. And then recently she messaged me and said, hey, I know we haven't talked in a long time, but I've been watching your stuff, seeing what you're doing, and I feel super aligned to you in this moment. I know that we were
Yeah.
very different and we caught up and we were able to actually relate on a lot of different levels and realize that now we're more aligned than we used to be. And I think that happens with friendships. Like I even look at my mom, for example, who's in her 40s and had girlfriends that she, fell off with after high school, but then in her later mom years reconnected with for different reasons.
Yeah.
I do think though that a challenge for friendships, not necessarily leaving old friends, but making new friends. I think that's been really challenging. And I know, like you said, having a small circle is awesome. And I think that I kind of feel the same way as you with that. I think
Yeah.
that having a small circle is not better, but I don't know. I think there comes with there come. having a small circle comes with some perks,
Yeah.
that having, like, this huge friend group doesn't, at least for me and, like you're saying, for yourself. But, when I say having new friends, I don't even necessarily mean, like, "Oh, I wanna have this huge friend group," but I think just meeting new people just because, like, just for the heck of it, but it's been hard, like, and I know you're obviously more, I was gonna say you're old. No, I wasn't. But, like, you're further along in your 20s, right? And
Yeah.
I know, like, a lot of girls in their early 20s, especially, like, right out of college or whatever, say that it is challenging to make new friends. Have you been experiencing this yourself? Are there ways that you're, like, trying to meet new people, or is that not something you're trying to do right now? Like, what does that look like for you?
I would say in my early 20s, I was big into like, I want to make friends. Like, I want to have like a group of people around me. Like,
Mhm.
I want to have like those people. But like, I don't know. I'm not a people person at all. Like, I'm a hairdresser, so like I have to have a certain level of like people like customer service stuff.
Right,
But
right.
like when it comes to making friends, like I'm very okay and like content with like being alone,
Okay.
and like by myself. And like I have like my husband now, so like,
Mhm,
we're kind of like each other's best friends. And like, he's my go-to for everything.
mhm.
So I'm not really at a stage in my life where I've been actively searching for friends or like want to make friends. If it happens, it happens.
Right.
But I'm pretty content with the circle I have now, just because like there's no drama, we're all there for each other, we're all on the same wavelength, like it's good.
Mhm,
And I just don't really want to bring anybody new into that, because I don't want to like fuck that up.
mhm.
So,
I get it. You're not actively trying, but like you said, if you meet someone like kind of for us, right? When we were in school,
yeah.
we just happened to meet and then we became besties. She asked me to be her bridesmaids in the crusty downstairs bathroom of school and the rest is history. But
Yeah, and like it's funny because I went to school and I was like, I'm not here to make friends. Like I'm just gonna go in, get out. And like I'm not like I always compare Michaela as like the human version of sunshine. Like she just radiates sunshine, energy, bubbliness. Like she's super friendly, positive. And I'm more like a rain cloud.
yeah.
And I'm very dark and gloomy. I keep to myself. I cry a lot. So like it's just like, so I feel like when I meet somebody with like your type of personality, it's easy for me to relate, because like you bring out something in me that I wouldn't
Mm,
otherwise like put forward, because
right.
like I don't trust a lot of people. I have a lot of trust issues just from trauma in my past. But like I don't know, so I wasn't really going to school looking for friends, but because of the person that you are and the way you are, and just like you were so like persistent and like you're gonna hang out with me, like we're gonna do this, I was like, all right, like that's cool. And like
I was like, we're eating lunch together and you don't have a choice.
yeah, exactly. You're like, "You're my partner for this project." And I was like, "All right, like, sounds good."
No,
So,
I love that. That was actually something I never really considered, like having friends to bring out things in you that, like you said, you otherwise wouldn't have or you wouldn't
yeah.
activate or you wouldn't tap into. And I think I can say that for each like friend that I have, like they're there for different reasons or we have different connections, different relatabilities.
Yeah.
I would love to hear your opinion though on the importance of friends because you did mention that now that you're married and you've got Kyle, like Kyle is your best friend, and I see that in my mom a lot. Like my mom doesn't have a friend group, like it's just her and my dad. Like she always says he's her best friend, but I also see that she sometimes struggles with that because she doesn't have that other outlet where when she wants to talk about my dad or she wants to talk about a girl thing, she has me and my sister, but she doesn't have that friend. So as far as your personal experience, like do you still, you obviously, I know you do, you value the importance of friendship. So what is it
Mhm.
for you that's like different in your best friend type of relationship with Kyle versus like our friendship or the other girlfriends that you have? Like what would you say really makes it different, I guess?
Yeah, so I think it's easy to talk to Kyle about certain things, but there are also things about, like, me personally, or, like, my likes or my dislikes or my mindset and stuff that I like to have other friends for. Like for you example, like we talk about a lot of like mindset things, personal
Right.
development, growth, and while Kyle's into that, he's not into that.
Right.
So it helps to have, your other friends who have other interests and I don't know, are just kind of on the same path as you.
Mhm.
Like I do value the friendships I have a lot, but the one thing I value even more so is loyalty. And
Mm,
I think that's why I'm so like close to Kyle and I consider him my best friend and like obviously we're married and stuff, but like
of course.
there's that loyalty factor. Like I know he's not going to leave. I know he's not going to talk shit about me to other people. I know that like he's really there for me and being honest. Like I said before, I have a lot of trust issues. So it's like it's just a matter of finding those people that you know are going to be loyal to you, that you can trust to open up to, that you can be vulnerable with, because that's how you really build those deep connections, those deep friendships. And I'd rather have that than a surface level friendship to just be like, hey, want to go grab coffee? Like
Right.
I want something deeper. I want something more. I want a connection.
Mhm.
And so I think in finding other friends outside of like your spouse, look for people that really, really align with you. And if they don't, just don't talk to them again. Keep their number or follow them on Instagram or whatever, but like don't pursue anything if you feel like this isn't going to be substantial or anything good for you.
Right. Just like a relationship, a friendship should be adding something to your life. It shouldn't
Yes.
be taking away, or it shouldn't just be like this stagnant thing. I mean, and it doesn't need to be like, oh, my friends like add so much value to my life. Like it can just
Yeah.
be that they're your support system or that you go
Yeah.
out and have fun with them, right? Like little things like that where the friendships you have are actually adding value. There is a reason why they're there. Um
Yeah.
I was gonna say something and my mind went blank, but oh, I remember you were saying like loyalty and like deep friendships. And I think
Hmm.
that obviously when you're first getting to know somebody, when you're growing a friendship with somebody, you don't really know whether or not they're gonna be that type of person, or you're learning about them. Um, I think for you and I, building a solid friendship really came around like honesty. I think that you and I
Hmm.
were very honest in our friendship from the start. Like we weren't afraid to tell each other straight up how it was, or we didn't sugarcoat anything. And I'm really trying to
Hmm.
step into that energy this year with my friendships. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, um with my friend this weekend when I, said something wrong. That was kind of the opposite way of what I mean now. Like I was in the wrong then, and I needed to speak up and apologize. But if you feel that like a friend is in the wrong or they treated you poorly or did something, like have a conversation about it. I think that
Yeah.
once again, the conversations are just something that people like run away from or hide from, and then it ends up either breaking the friendship or making things worse. And like I think that so much can be prevented from just a simple conversation. And then
Yeah.
if the conversation doesn't go how you were hoping, then like for you, for the girl that we were discussing earlier, like it didn't go how you had hoped, but it showed you her true colors. And then you knew you needed to take a step back. But at least you had that conversation.
Yeah. Well, with her, it was more so like I sent Kyle to have the conversation with me for me
Oh, yeah.
because I didn't feel she was worth a conversation from me
Mm,
because she wanted to do it on her terms. It was, I want to meet in person. I want to meet at this place. I
I.
want to go here. And it's like, no, 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 no. Like, we're not doing it your way. This isn't going to happen. And since she wasn't willing to meet in the middle, I was like, you know what? You're not even worth my time or my
Mm,
energy. Kyle, go handle this for me. I'm done.
yeah.
And, and I usually am a very honest and blunt person, but only if you deserve that
Right.
from
Right.
me. Like I'm not going to sit here and be like, Michaela, you pissed me off when you said this if you're not worth my energy. If you pissed me off and you're not worth it, then I'm going to be like, I'm just going to let it slide.
Right.
But since you're worth my energy and I know that you will actually communicate back with me,
Right.
it's like I'm more open to tell you, "Hey, what you did made me upset," or whatever, this, that, the other thing.
Mhm.
Or like you said, when you did that with your friends and you went up and apologized. And it's funny that you did that because I had a similar situation with one of my other guy friends where a similar situation
Yeah,
happened.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and I said something and I was like, And then he wrote back and I was like, crap, I think I really just pissed him off. Like, I just got to say something. Like, let me just apologize if I like said anything wrong. But it was just like him bantering. So he
Right.
wasn't actually mad, but it was over text and it got lost in translation, of course. So,
Of course, as
but
everything does through text.
yeah, but make sure, they're worth your energy. I mean, that's just what it is. I had a friend, um, since I had known since birth.
Wow.
Her and I were friends for, God, long time, long, long, long time. And and she did something to upset my mother, and you don't fuck with my family.
No.
And I went right up to her. I like screamed in her face. And I haven't talked to her since because she's just not worth my energy.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to have somebody around that's going to disrespect my family.
Right.
So I just was like, you know what? Done. It didn't matter how long I knew her or what our past was or this or that. It's like
Yeah.
at that point you showed me who you are and your true colors, and I'm not fucking with that.
Yeah. I agree. I think it comes down to setting boundaries, but people are maybe afraid to do that. I know I've definitely been afraid to set boundaries in my personal life when it comes to like family or even friends, like telling somebody, "Hey, I don't really like when you say that," or "I don't like when we talk about this. Can we switch the subject?" Or, like you said, just knowing what it is that you deserve in a friendship and not letting anything else in your life and in your circle other than what it is that you deserve. I see some terrible things like online, like girls are just so mean to like their friends even. Like there
Yeah.
was something, I forgot what it was, but it was some sort of stupid trend and it was like this girl, she made a TikTok video of her and her like best friend, but over her like she would put like good words and then over the best friend she'd put like ugly or something like that and it would be like over her head it would be pretty and then the next one it would be like skinny and then fat and like like the stereotypical good and bad things and she like
Yeah.
posted it on TikTok and like it was like a joke but I'm like if your friend is jokingly posting publicly like diminishing you or like coming after you publicly for that's not a friend. Like what the heck,
No.
it blew my mind that people do that. I'm like what the heck. And I feel though a lot of young girls especially get they get lost in just wanting to be friends with everybody, wanting to be the nice girl. Like I let that happen to me. I let myself, get walked all over with that ex-best friend I was speaking of earlier because I just wanted so badly to just be her friend and have her be my best friend because that was what I knew and she was, pretty well known and whatever. And I let myself be, spoken poorly to or just talked down to or be mistreated by her. And it wasn't until, a few years later that I realized you're actually a bitch. I don't know why I'm friends with you. And
Yeah.
I need to start speaking my freaking mind. And once again,
Yeah.
you can always do it in a kind manner, but when it calls for it, be fucking blunt like Kelsey, right? Tell them off and just stand up for yourself essentially when it comes to poor friendships
Yeah.
and open yourself up I think to the opportunity to meet new friends like especially if you're so young like in your 20s you have years ahead of you. Some people are like, oh, I have no friends, I'm gonna be alone forever. I'm like, you haven't even met all the people you're gonna meet before you die.
Yeah.
Like
And that's the thing too, like friends come and go in different stages of your life. You are not going to have the same friends that you have now 10 years from now. I guarantee it. You
mm,
might have a few people here and there who are still in your
right,
life, but you're going to meet so many new people because you're constantly changing.
right,
You could move, people could move to you and you could meet them, like
mhm,
you could start a new job and meet new people there. Like
mhm,
it's just people come and go, and like you said something before about like wanting to be her friend, and I think that's the secret with me. It's going to sound really bad, but I don't want to be anybody's friend.
mm,
But the people who are my friends, I really do cherish in my life and I love them with all of my heart. I love so deeply all of my friends, but I don't have a want to be anybody's friend,
mm,
especially if they don't want to be my friend.
right,
So it's like, if you're not proving to me that you want me in my life, then I'm not gonna prove to you that I want you in my life
right,
because you give what you get.
mm,
So
yeah. No, that was fire. That was good. That was honestly the perfect way to wrap up because we're reaching our end here on our little Zoom chat. But I think all in all, the whole point of why we wanted to talk about friendships today is just to say moving into this new year, don't settle for less in friendships, in relationships, in life, right? Just in general. Like, you know what it is that you want in a friendship. You know what it is that you deserve, right? Like Kelsey, you know that you appreciate loyalty and honesty and same for me. Like loyalty, honesty, just being transparent, somebody that I know is going to be there for me in my ups and downs, somebody who's not going to judge me no matter
Yep.
what, right?
Be picky. Be picky like you would picking out a life partner,
Right.
like be picky.
Absolutely, because it's not just a middle school or an elementary school friendship anymore. These are like people in your life who you hope to turn to when you really need them, or people in your life who you want to grow with, and those people need to have the same energy as you and be in alignment with you and be worthy of being in your life, right?
They're
Like you
either
said.
gonna push you forward or hold you back, and you want the ones that are gonna push you forward and be right there with you.
Yes, absolutely. And Kelsey, you are that friend for me, and I love you.
And you are that friend for me. Don't worry, I want your friendship.
No, I know. I totally understand what you mean.
Yeah,
I feel that way too now. It's not like I'm like
yeah,
chasing the friendships. I'm more so just
exactly.
working on attracting more of friendships, the ones that I have with you and like my other close friends, like manifesting not even friendships, but just more interactions like that,
Yep,
right? Because it doesn't always have to be a friendship. I feel like I
yeah,
have so many just acquaintances or just people that I know that I can reach out to or talk to, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like this best friend. It's just about protecting your energy so the people who you do come across, whether it be a long-term friendship or just a seasonal one, are meant to be there and they're good for you and they help you and vice versa. Uh,
yeah.
but any final thoughts, Kels, on friendships this year and what the girls should do moving into 2024, just to prioritize themselves?
You know what? I mean, like I said, be picky, be your best friend.
Mm,
Look
that's a good
for
one.
who you are in other people. Be
Right.
your best friend and look for you. And don't chase, just attract. Don't chase anybody because anybody who you're chasing isn't worth chasing anyways.
True.
So, we're leaving them behind.
Yes.
Bye-bye. See you later. We're all about empowerment and love and trust and loyalty and all of that in 2024. So definitely just be picky and, you know, just be true to yourself.
Yeah, and don't feel guilty for it. Don't feel
Yeah.
guilty for having to maybe, leave a friend behind or have a friendship breakup or
Yeah.
whatever. Like if you're doing it for yourself, it's the right move always.
Because it doesn't always mean it's the end of it either. It could
Yeah.
just be you're at two different life points. So
Yep.
nothing's ever really over. It's just a start for a new beginning.
Oh, I love that. And with that, we're gonna end because that was perfect. Thank you, Kelsey, so much for
Thank
coming on
you.
today. Of course. So happy we finally got to do this. And where can all the girls check you out on social media?
So yes, I am on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Glamour by Kelsey. It's glamour with a U, so it's GLAMOUR by Kelsey, KELSEY. But yeah, I do all the hair stuff on there, and I'm trying to do a little more mental health stuff too, and incorporate that. So I'm just kind of all over the place. But yeah, check me out there, Glamour by Kelsey.
Awesome. And if you are local to her, which is the Connecticut area, definitely pop into the salon maybe to see her. She does spray tans, permanent jewelry, anything with your hair she can do, and a fabulous job she will do. And yes, I appreciate you for tuning into today's episode, of course, as always. And I will see you on Friday with another solo episode. Bye.